Kwanza umekuja unaniambia utakaa miezi 2-3 utalala wapi? Mimi sikatai ukae. Sawa? Kulala utalala wapi? Ngoja kulala kwangu na ujui anwani yangu ujui kila kitu. Kwa namna gani mahali?
Sio ni binamu wangu.
Mimi nilipokuja kutafuta kazi hapa, nilikuja kuomba hata ndururu. Nilikwenda kwa mtu kuomba.
You have 3 meetings.
Just cancel all of them.
Nimeona Dan.
Where? Amesema ningeje job kesho. Ngware, mapema.
Wewe, hapa ndo ulikuja kazi?
Madam,
Can you go back to the office right now? Why do you keep defending Agnes?
Nilidhani nina shida ndogo lakini zako ni kubwa sana.
I'm in trouble.
Kachumbari si mboga na haipashi moto.
Do you know that I can sue you for defamation? I mean dissertation. What did that man say?
You and Dan had a relationship?
all I did was save Dan's life.
Can you do your dirty work without getting my people into your messes?
The law will handle the rest.
Nini naendelea hapa?
Dan.
Pindi tunapowasha vifaa vyetu, tunapata fursa ya kutangamana na wasikilizaji wetu.
Karibu sana thĩinĩ wa tabarĩra ya Rwiga.
Tunapeperusha utangazaji uliobobea katika habari,
ni ũndũ wa macio na mangĩ maingĩ,
burudani,
Aha ni haria tukoragwo tukiigua nyimbo mwaki nyimbo hot
na hamasisho la kiroho. Usiachwe nyuma. Jiunge nasi kwa safari ya kufana katika 99.5 FM. Shoro FM.
In a world where news is ever changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first.
You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
And we are talking about forgiveness. I know it is not easy. Sometimes people will not come and say sorry, but when we look at the Bible, it's very clear that there is a demand for us even to forgive.
As human beings, we don't know how to forgive, but learning from God, we can forgive. Forgiveness first helps you, ministers to you as a person, because it's like carrying a very heavy load, and when you put it down, there's that moment when you feel.
But what we don't understand, and forgiveness keep on spreading in us, and it keeps on killing and making us bitter and not even better people.
In the name of Jesus Christ. Mungu anatarajia ukanyange hatua mbele. Wengine wametawaliwa na uchawi, wakati wao umefika. Wewe umenitazama siku ya leo. Neema na kibali cha Bwana kikawe juu ya maisha yako.
Good evening and welcome to Easy Friday. Tonight, we take you across the globe where the stories shaping our world unfold, from high-stakes diplomacy to groundbreaking innovations and the moments that define our culture. Strap in for a compelling hour of news, insight and conversation. I'm Caren, Kibbett. Let's get started. Here are the highlights. The key to unveiling Sharon Otieno's killers lies in the unmasking of the sender of threatening messages to the deceased. A key witness testifies. Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka asks Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu to soften her hard perception about Kenyan activists. Beneficiaries of affordable housing units issued with beneficiary identification cards. And Kenya versus Tanzania war. Kenyan keyboard warriors fire back at their TZ counterparts in tonight's Savage Netizen. Welcome, this is Easy Friday. Our sign language interpreter this evening is Byron Abuli. Now, President William Ruto on Friday visited Kibra Soweto Affordable Housing Project to inspect the project and the ongoing issuance of beneficiary identification cards. His visit comes on the eve of the closure of the exercise. Kibra residents keen on benefiting from the houses pitched tent to be registered. Ben Chumba has the details.
Friday morning at Soweto Zone in Kibra, we meet Margaret Wamboi, a 53-year-old mother of 4 and guardian of her sister's child. She's lining up with the hope of security, a housing unit having endured the unimaginable, leaking walls and crowded rooms. Her eyes fixed on the crowd, waiting for her turn to confirm if the list will mark a turning point for her to put a decent roof over her children's head as a single parent.
Pahali nilikuwa nakondesha nyumba hapa wanabomoa, nilikuwa nalipa pesa kidogo. Sasa mabosi wamesema tutoke kwa hizo nyumba tuende tukatafuta manyumba mahali pengine. Nikaenda hapo Jamhuri na nakaa kanyumba kadogo, nalipa shilingi 6,000 na ni ngumu kupata juu mimi ni mfanyabiashara na niko peke yangu, niko single.
In the bustle, we also notice Catherine Muthoni. She has called Kibra home since 1982. Today, she clutches her enumeration card, not just a piece of paper, but a symbol of long overdue recognition and hope.
Kwa huwa muda wote, mimi na familia yangu tumekuwa tukikaa kwa salamu. Na sasa imefika wakati ambapo sasa tunaona imefika wakati mzuri wa kuja kupata nyumba ambayo ni permanent, nyumba ambayo ni ya mawe, ambayo tutakuja kukaa, sababu huku katika kijiji tumekuwa na shida nyingi sana ya moto. Mioto imekuwa ikituchomea manyumba, kukinyesha pia maji inaingia kwa nyumba. Sasa tunaona tukipata hizi nyumba maisha itabadilika kabisa.
Their struggles with housing and lack of basic sanitation mirror that of Pauline Wamboi, a widow, and Stinilas Oyaro.
Na vile si tunasema tumeishi kwa upweke sana. Tunaishi kwa nyumba za mabati, kanyumba ambako kako self-confused. Sasa tunaona watu wetu watakuja kupata manyumba.
Tunatarajia kukaa maisha safi kama wale wanakaa kwa estate, kama wale wanakaa ngumu ama sehemu zingine. Kwa sasa tuliko na shida labda ya fio, maji na njia na barabara. Lakini kwa sasa tunaona mabadiliko iko. Ikiendelea hivyo kama haki itatumika, kila mmoja wetu apate, tutaweza furahia.
At the heart of this transformation for these families is the government's affordable housing program.
You have to show proof of residence. We have to come to your house, find you there, enumerate you, take your details, take a photo of yourself and your household, and then we record that so that we keep that in our database. So we do not expect to have a person coming from outside being enumerated within the Kibera area or any area that we are focused on.
More than 10,000 families are said to be identified with relocation plans already in motion.
Wako watu ambao walipuuza mradi wakati huo na wakatoka na wakaenda. Sasa kama ameenda, sio nyumba iliingiwa na mtu mwingine na amesajiliwa. So akirudi asajiliwe itakuwa double enumeration.
As they queue with the hope of transformation, President William Ruto was in the area to inspect progress.
Mimi nataka niwahakikishie, ni ahadi yangu, ni ahadi ya serikali hii, na mimi nitahakikisha ya kwamba tumetimiza ahadi yetu kwa wananchi wa Kibera na kwa wananchi wa taifa letu la Kenya.
He was briefed on the issuance of beneficiary identification cards, which is expected to conclude on Saturday.
Uwe ni Mjaluo, Mkikuyu, Mkamba, Mluya, Mborana, utaishi kwa hizi manyumba bila ya wewe kubaguliwa kwa sababu wewe ni mtu wa kutoka jamii fulani.
It is not just a housing project. This is a promise in progress. And for thousands who've been waiting in the shadows, this could finally be the beginning of a new chapter. Ben Chumba, Easy Friday.
Thank you, Ben, for that detailed report. Moving on, the National Police Service is warning against acts of hooliganism during political and public gatherings. In a strong worded statement, the Deputy Inspector General of Police, Eliud Langat, fired a warning shot at politicians and individuals bankrolling criminal gangs to start chaos during gatherings that will be dealt with swiftly. Langat was speaking during a high-level security meeting, bringing together officers commanding police stations across Nairobi County. Joseph Wahungu has the details.
It is such scenes of hooliganism during public and political gatherings that has led to the National Police Service warning of serious consequences to the sponsors and perpetrators of such acts. Deputy Inspector General of Police Eliud Lagat, while meeting with officers commanding police stations in Nairobi, warned the police will deal decisively with those behind the chaos.
The message is very clear. There's no room for goons. Yes, it's true that there are some either politicians or some known individuals that they believe in goons. The message is very clear. Goons, they are outlawed, and we are not going to accept. This is part of the conversation that we are going to say that moving forward, people should follow the rule of law.
Further, Lagat revealed that they have put in place strategies to counter bandit attacks and fight illicit brew and narcotics trade within informal settlements in the capital, Nairobi.
For the last month or so, Nairobi area has been doing very well in terms of fight against the illicit brew. And we are going to continue putting a lot of pressure.
He further said they were clamping down on incidences of graft within police stations, as well as addressing mental concerns among police officers.
We need to bring in our commanders in this Nairobi area so that we can have one common stand on how to deal with vices. We will be talking today on those issues. We'll be talking again on corruption. We want to see how we can manage corruption that have been associated with our stations.
Despite the country witnessing an upsurge in criminal activities, including banditry, the National Police Service has promised to take action to curb insecurity in all borders of the nation. Reporting for Easy Friday from Nairobi, my name is Joseph Wahungu.
Now, police officers have arrested 4 suspects, including 3 foreigners, and recovered an assortment of firearms, among them 3 pistols, an AK-47 rifle, and 30 rounds of ammunition in the Pangani area of Nairobi County. Speaking at Pangani Police Station, where the firearms were displayed, Nairobi Regional Police Commander George Seda said the 4 suspects, 3 Ugandan nationals and 1 Kenyan, were arrested during the operation in the area. The 4 suspects are now detained at the Pangani Police Station as police continue with the investigations.
In the early hours of Friday morning, a major intelligence-led operation in the Pangani area of Nairobi County successfully led to the arrest of 4 suspects and a recovery of firearms, among them 3 pistols, an AK-47 rifle and 30 rounds of ammunition.
The AK-47 we have recovered together with a magazine complete with 30 rounds. That's the maximum capacity. This one was being used by them in the execution of their mission. And their mission is committing crimes. And these crimes, we cannot rule out. There are crimes which have been committed within Nairobi and others outside Nairobi. So in that regards, we are still pursuing through other aspects of investigation to see, or rather to link them with other crimes which have been committed elsewhere, so that we can just name it wholly.
Nairobi Regional Police Commander George Seda, who visited the area, said the 4 suspects, 3 Ugandan nationals and 1 Kenyan, were arrested following a tip-off.
Just check that syndicate, which means the crime has gone a notch higher. This is now being done with what's called cross-border. We can have the locals who are doing the planning as the other outsiders come and hit and they run.
The regional police chief said the investigation team is analyzing whether the weapons were used to commit crimes elsewhere.
The interrogation matters are ongoing. We have got everything about them. We have got their data. We did a lot of profiling so that even we can get them. And we go to other ingredients, which we are still pursuing. Maybe this number we have is not going to be the exact number. It might be more than this.
He said more suspects were still at large, and he was accompanied by Nairobi Regional Criminal Investigation Officer Benson Kasioki and other top police officers from the region. The 4 suspects are held at Pangani Police Station as investigations continue. The incident comes few days after the National Security Intelligence Service, NSIS, raised an alarm over rising borderland-related crimes.
The National Police Service have launched investigations in the murder of Father Alois Cheruiyot, the Catholic priest who was allegedly shot on his way back to church from a pastoral mission, served as the parish priest of St. Matthias Mulumba Tot Parish, located in the volatile Kerio Valley region. His killing comes days after yet another Catholic priest was allegedly murdered along the Nairobi-Nakuru highway. John Kahiro has that story.
This was the last photo which Father Alois Cheruiyot captured and shared of himself in his Thursday's pastoral work program. Unknown to him and his parishioners, it was his final moment. Hours later, his body will be discovered in the nearby thickets, allegedly shot and left for the dead. Not even his pastoral robes starred the conscience of his killers.
A very important person in the society. That is our father, who has been assisting us in terms of spiritual nourishment. The diocese just passed very fast. He went to Kapsoar very fast without our information, but we are going to investigate, then we'll let you know.
In his condolence message, President William Ruto, in a statement issued on Friday, described Father Bet as a tireless promoter of peace and a true faith leader whose sermons were genuine, clear and impactful. He noted the government will hunt down his killers and restore peace in the volatile Kerio Valley. His sentiments echoed by the Deputy IG, Elid Lagat, even as 6 suspects remain in custody in connection with the shooting and killing of Father Alois.
And I want to take this opportunity to really console and to comfort and to eulogize the passing on or the killing of the priest in the North Rift. And I want to tell you for sure, the North Rift has been quiet, and it is really quiet, other than those few criminals that decided to kill that particular priest. And I want to say that massive efforts are in place right now to look for these very few criminals.
Back at home, where he served as a parish priest, parishioners have mourned Father Alois Bet as a shepherd who served with humility.
And Father Alois was a great father. At 2 p.m. I was told that Father is no more, and his body is being now transported to Eldoret. And on behalf of the great people of Elgeyo Marakwet, I want to say pole to the Catholic Bishop of Eldoret, the priests, and the community of Kerio Valley. Few criminals have decided to wreak havoc, and because of fear that government is catching up with them.
His assassination comes days after yet another Nakuru Highway, plunging the Catholic Church into mourning once again. John Kahiro, Easy Friday.
May his soul rest in peace. Moving on, President William Ruto has emphasized the government's commitment to ensure that all Kenyans get access to quality health care. The head of state, who met the Faith-Based Health Services Consortium at the State House, Nairobi, said that his resolve to ensure the attainment of universal health coverage remains solid. During the meeting, the leadership of the faith-based hospitals said that there has been a major improvement in the Social Health Authority, with more Kenyans benefiting from the initiative.
On Friday, President William Ruto met the Faith-Based Health Services Consortium at State House, Nairobi, to take stock of the progress and performance of the Social Health Authority at their facilities. The religious leaders assured the president that compared to 2 months ago, their facilities have observed notable improvement in the Social Health Authority, while calling for more cooperation with the government to address the remaining bottlenecks.
As AIC, we are doing very well, and particularly Kapsawar, Litein, Kijabe, and the Cure hospitals. Yesterday, the doctors and the staff of Kijabe were very happy that, in actual fact, they got their salary 4 days before the end of the month.
Our smiles have been broadening. And I know we look like we were too mean to you. And the continuum between NHIF and SHA, people don't get it because we were already like so down with NHIF, and SHA was struggling to pick up. So that continuum has been an issue. But we want to say, Your Excellency, we're so grateful.
From technical point of view, as of today, I'm here to confirm that SHA is working, and it's working 100%.
In the last meeting here, I did mention to you that the faces of us that day was different. And I can see, as Bishop Langada said, our smiles are widening.
With the introduction of SHA, I'm a proud bishop and a proud patron of that facility because we are able to meet our bills. And many people are flocking the facility. Many people are flocking the facility.
The head of state assured the country that he will not relent until every Kenyan gets access to quality and affordable health care.
Health is so critical and so important that it must not be a privilege for the people who can afford. The Constitution demands of government that we must provide the highest standard of quality of health to citizens. So it is both a constitutional imperative and it's a political assignment for me.
The head of state also met the Evangelical Alliance of Kenya and the Association of Evangelicals of Africa. President Ruto pledged to work closely with religious leaders to anchor peace, unlock development, and drive lasting transformation across the continent. Nancy Okware, Easy Friday.
And that report by our very own Nancy Okware on access to quality healthcare leads us to our first short break right here on Easy Friday. I'll be back with more news. Don't go too far.
Je, umewahi kuwa na deni ya KRA? Basi usiwe na shaka. KRA wakishirikiana na KBC wamekuandalia roadshow murwa kabisa. Jiunge nasi tukufahamishe kuhusu KRA Tax Amnesty Program na jinsi utakavyoweza kusamehewa adhabu na riba na KRA. Pia tutakuwa tunakusaidia kujaza fomu za kodi za mwaka 2024 na kukusaidia na huduma za KRA kwa mtaa wako. Jumamosi tarehe 24 tutazuru maeneo ya Kitale, tutakuwa Cherangani, Endebess, Kiminini, Kwanza na hatimaye tumalizie Saboti. KRA, tulipe ushuru, tujitegemee.
Imagine a future where you can enjoy the fruits of your hard work without financial worries. A time when you can truly relax, travel, and pursue your passions. To achieve that dream, you need to plan today. With the cost of living constantly rising and inflation showing no signs of slowing down, the money you need today will be nearly 10 times higher by the time you retire. Without a solid retirement plan, you risk financial insecurity when your active income stops. That's why saving for retirement is necessary. Regardless of your age, it's never too early or too late to start planning. Engage with experts from any RBA-registered individual pension plan for guidance in tailoring a retirement strategy based on your current lifestyle, future goals, and desired retirement age. This provides the fixed regular income you'll need after retirement to ensure you live comfortably without compromising your quality of life. The earlier you start saving, the more secure your future will be. Start saving for your retirement today and live your golden years the way you've always dreamed. For more information, visit our website www.rba.go.ke, call our toll-free line 0800 720 300 or email info@rba.go.ke. Secure your future. Secure your peace of mind. RBA, safeguarding your retirement benefits.
Mguu imenifanya nimekosa kazi katika maisha yangu. Haiwezi simama, haiwezi fanya nini, kila wakati ni uchungu. Imenikosesha kila kitu, imenikosesha amani, imekuwa chanzo tu cha kufarakana kwa maisha yangu.
Mama huyu analia usiku na mchana. Mguu wake unauma. Mguu wake unatoka usaha na chembe za damu. Mguu wake una uchungu sana kiasi ya kwamba umefura na kusimama ama kufanya kazi yake hawezi. Na katika Save a Life tunakualika dada na ndugu tuweze kusimama na mama huyu.
Already in a world filled with academic pressure, social media, identity crisis, and of course the anxiety for the future, our young people are faced with an even heavier emotional load than we ever were.
Please learn to speak. Don't keep things to yourself. Please talk even to your friends. Learn to listen to their children. Many times, many parents dismiss, so they don't validate whatever the child is saying.
This part of adolescence of identity versus confusion is a place now where we are tussling. Child and parent, we are tussling. Why? This child is rediscovering us. And you are treating this child like the child who was 4 years old. I want to tell the preteens and the teens that you matter. Your life matters. You matter. You are loved. Your life is beyond now. Sometimes we focus on the now, we forget the future.
Welcome back. For those joining us right now, this is Easy Friday and our sign language interpreter is Byron Abuli. Now, the former personal assistant to Okoth Obado, Michael Oyamo, has brought a new twist in the 2018 brutal murder of Sharon Otieno, a Rongo University student. Giving his testimony for the third day in a row, Oyamo told Justice Cecilia Githuha that according to an earlier witness, Sharon had received threats to her life from an unknown individual, and therefore zeroing down to him would be a wrong target.
Have it produced. Very well. So then perhaps I can produce it.
In what appears to be a new twist in the murder of Sharon Otieno.
Remember the letter? Yes, I remember the letter. And you extensively referred to it yesterday. Do you remember? Yes, I do.
Michael Oyamo, the former A2X Migori Governor Okoth Obado, urged the court to order for Safaricom to give call data so that the unknown individual could be unmasked.
During my interaction with the police when they were doing their investigations, certain aspects came in. For example, with my case, the police had a story which they wanted me to fit in.
The father of 4 from Orere, Migori County, said he will wish to table the call data from Safaricom as part of his evidence.
The boyfriend to the late Sharon, that I would be put in as the father, and I'll be solely charged and take responsibility for the abduction then, and later it turned into a murder case.
The court is expected to give new hearing days so that Oyamo can be cross-examined by the prosecution team on the new documents he tabled as he finishes evidence in chief on Friday.
Defense witness 2 is stood down, ruling on the second leave on the prosecution's application on the 11th of June, which will also serve, as I mentioned it, for purpose of taking a fresh hearing date.
Elsewhere, Chief Magistrate Court in Kericho has slapped a middle-aged man with 20 years imprisonment after being found guilty of defiling and impregnating a 15-year-old girl. Brian Kipkirui was accused that on diverse dates between 17th and 23rd October 2024, he intentionally and unlawfully defiled the minor in Bureti, Kericho County. During mitigation, Kipkirui urged Senior Resident Magistrate Japheth B. to give him leniency, claiming he will not repeat the offense. However, the magistrate ruled the accused is guilty as charged and should serve the sentence to act as a lesson to those with such behaviors. Ruth Wamboi for Easy Friday.
Thank you, Ruth, for that report. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, in collaboration with the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, is zeroing in on politicians from the Western region who are believed to be behind the alleged malicious damage and theft during a raid at the residence of the Tanzania Governor George Natembeya on Monday. Already, 14 people have been arrested in connection with the damage, and the commission said a number of politicians mentioned adversely are on its radar. EACC Chairperson Dr. David Onginde says that the protesters intended to destroy evidence in the alleged irregular procurement and fictitious payments of 1.4 billion shillings case against the governor and other county officials.
And several people have been arrested. That investigation is still going on.
Sleuths from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, and the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, are on the radar of politicians who are believed to be behind the vandalism of government vehicles on Monday in Kitale during the arrest of Governor George Natembeya.
Until some people came and incited the crowds, they destroyed extensively 4 of our vehicles. Legal action will be taken against them, 1 for destroying the property and 2nd for obstructing public servants who are doing their work.
EACC Chairperson Dr. David Okinde has confirmed that politicians believed to have organized the mayhem are on the radar of the anti-graft body.
It is very unfortunate because this is what gives these people the courage, the boldness, the impunity to continue acting, and they mobilize their people
to come and follow them to our offices, sometimes to court, and sometimes when we are doing investigation like happened in Kitale.
The commission, however, did not disclose the names of the said politicians, but affirmed that the joint operation between the two investigative bodies has yielded insights on the bank rollers and the motive.
When we go for the so-called big fish, the same people come following them to defend them and to say they are being targeted, either as a political grouping or as a community, and so on and so forth. So one wonders what Kenyans actually want.
Oginde said there is a worrying trend of Kenyans being whipped to come to the aid of corrupt leaders, especially when they are being apprehended.
Let us refuse the little tokens that we may receive from the corrupt, because it is your resources that they have stolen, and they are giving you very little of it.
So far, 14 suspects have been arrested in connection with the Kitale incident. Bishop Oginde was speaking at the launch of the Corruption Risk Assessment and Management Guidelines.
And of course, we also know in some instances the private sector is an enabler. When we say corruption is a tango between two parties, we've seen cases where the private sector is also implicated.
It's noted that bribery, conflict of interest, trading of information, manipulation of accounts, and tax evasion impose heavy costs to the economy, undermine development, and weaken service delivery.
Is identifying existing systemic weaknesses and opportunities by doing in-depth analysis, identifying the weaknesses.
The guidelines are set to provide a practical framework for organizations to proactively identify, assess, and manage corruption risks in their operations. EACC CEO Abdi Mohamud has confirmed that the said suspects will be arraigned in court to face the charges leveled against them in the coming days. Abdi Aziz Hashim for Easy Friday.
Now, the Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka has called on Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu to reconsider her stand on Kenyans and embrace the cordial relationship the two countries have enjoyed over the years. His remarks come after human rights activist Boniface Mwangi was yesterday deported back to the country after days of detention in Tanzania. Kalonzo was speaking during the official closing of the one-week ISPAC conference in Mombasa, where he called on both countries to work towards strengthening their values and embracing their differences.
Kwa hivyo namuuliza kwa heshima ahakikishe kwamba uhusiano wa Afrika Mashariki unaonekana kidhati, kwamba kila mtu anampa mwingine heshima yake. Lakini when Kenyans are arrested, then it is a responsibility of every nation to stand up for their own citizens.
Now, a section of residents of Mavoko want the Machakos County government to take stern action against companies around Athi River that contribute to the pollution of River Athi without any recourse for conservation. The residents who held demonstrations in protest say polluters are not held accountable for their action despite the potential health risks their actions are causing residents who heavily depend on the Athi River water, whether within the county or downstream.
A section of residents of Mavoko in Machakos County Friday held protest, condemning what they termed as a blatant disregard of environmental safety from a number of companies around Athi River that has contributed to the pollution of River Athi without any recourse for conservation.
Companies that operate in this area should come on board this program, because they are the ones who are responsible for the mess in which this area finds itself.
The residents who congregated at one of the accessible areas to River Athi say their call to action will help save future generations.
In every industry that is established under the EPZ program, we encourage that before any discharge to meet the standards for discharge to the public sewers.
They want the county government to bring a lasting solution to the problem.
the county government of Machakos to approach these companies and request them or even oblige them to come on board this program so that we can push this wheel of progress together.
Through a local foundation, the residents planted bamboo trees across the stretch in the county as one of the ways to reclaim the river, which is now heavily contaminated through the discharge of untreated waste from the many companies that give Athi River a name.
From the preliminary results that we have done, bamboo has come out to be one of the best candidates in terms of the issues of conservation of the river and also infiltration of these the heavy metals that you're talking about. So the other species, of preferably the indigenous species, they are also vital because they also help in the stabilization of the river banks.
The community living around River Athi believe their action will compel the companies to heed to their call and act. Timothy Kipnusu for Easy Friday.
The Secretary to the Cabinet, Dr. Mercy Wanjau, says the government is committed to ensuring that all girls continue with their education even during their menstrual cycle. Speaking at Mutira Girls High School in Kirinyaga during an education day, Wanjau said sanitary towels will be provided to school-going girls to help them overcome stigmatization during their biological days. She said it is part of a global commitment that Kenya has made to support and empower the girl child. Sentiments echoed by Kenya Broadcasting Corporation Board member Sarah Muhoya, who said the initiative is to ensure girls maintain hygiene and study in dignity without fear. The two also led the school in planting avocado trees.
How do we continue to support with this school, with the school and what she is doing? And so we pulled in KEPSA Foundation and other teams here and there.
So that sanitary towel is meant to be an initiative as an equalizer to enable the girl to carry on, particularly within academic spaces, to be able to pursue her academics and productive life, regardless of what time of the month it is.
Health sector stakeholders are decrying the lack of accurate and up-to-date data on persons with disabilities, which they say is a key impediment to their empowerment and accessibility to crucial medical services. Led by Petronila Bwesu from the Ministry of Health, the stakeholders revealed the government often relies on data from the 2019 census, which lacks real-time relevance, warning that the information gap continues to deny vulnerable populations access to essential services. Persons with disabilities who converged in a consortium organized by the National Syndemic Disease Control Council in Nairobi exuded confidence that the PWD's Act of 2025 will amplify their voices.
Have challenges, especially when it comes to real data. At the moment, we don't have really data for persons with disability as a country. The data we are focusing on is the data for census 2019, which gave us 2.2 million with disabilities. And that data cannot give us enough resources for funding because it's not disaggregated into various age groups.
When they're accessing hospitals, infrastructures, they are not accessible. For those who are deaf, you find that there are no sign language interpreters in all health centers, and even there are no assistive technologies, for example, for those who are visually impaired.
When this policy was signed by His Excellency the President, it has given us the right that now we can even be able to enjoy the rights like any other population within the country.
Naivasha Member of Parliament Jane Kihara now claims that the withdrawal of her security details is politically motivated. Addressing the press at the Parliament buildings, Kihara alleged that her security has been withdrawn for supporting the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, a situation that she says has left her vulnerable.
I feel so vulnerable now. I feel so naked. And you know, our work is traveling and it includes even moving around at night. Please, please, give me back my security officer or my bodyguard.
The Coastal Parliamentary Caucus has vowed to unite and speak in one voice in order to have a bargaining power in the 2027 general elections. Addressing the media in Nairobi, the parliamentarians, led by their chairman Wandanyi lawmaker Danson Mwashoka, stated that they will rally behind the Mining and Blue Economy Cabinet Secretary Hassan Joho as their leader and ensure the rights of the coastal communities are represented.
Sisi ndio viongozi wawakilishi watu wa pwani. Tukikosa kuja pamoja kwa umoja, basi mambo yetu yatasambaratika. So tumekubaliana kwa kauli moja. We will work together. We will unite as coastal community, the 6 counties. Viongozi wote tutatembea pamoja. Na tukasema under leadership of Governor Joho ama Waziri Joho na wale mawaziri wengine, Mheshimiwa Kingi, Mheshimiwa Mvuria, tutawaleta pamoja, tukae nao pamoja ili masuala ya pwani hata baki nyuma tena.
Kila unavyotuona hapa, si ati tunashikana tu kwa mambo ya maendeleo, lakini tutashikana pia kwa mambo ya kisiasa mpaka 2027. Ambaye atatuhitaji sisi ajue tuna kiongozi wetu. Na tuko na kiongozi Mheshimiwa Ali Hassan Joho kama waziri akiwa mbele, na ndugu yake Mvuria na ndugu yake Kingi, na sisi kama viongozi wengine.
We have discussed issues on blue economy, we have discussed issues on security, general security. You have discussed issues on mining, you have discussed issues ya mashamba, ya ajira, ya mambo ya ukulima wa sugarcane, mambo ya irrigation schemes, mambo ya bandari kwa jumla, mambo mingi tu ambayo yanahusu mpwani na mipango ambayo inastahili kuwekwa ili sisi serikali tuweze kufanya kazi na viongozi kukamilisha mahitaji na matakwa ya watu wa pwani.
Now, approximately 2.5 million eligible taxpayers have filed their returns. This represents 30% of the targeted 8.5 million by the end of June. The Kenya Revenue Authority is attributing the current low numbers to the habitual last-minute rush by Kenyans in updating their records with the taxman. The Revenue Collecting Agency is urging Kenyans to leverage on the tax services sensitization roadshow to file their returns. Further, Caren has moved to set up mobile clinics this weekend in major towns such as Nakuru, Eldoret and Kitale to assist those who wish to file their returns at no cost. The sensitization roadshow by Caren in partnership with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation was in Uasin Gishu County, touring Eldoret Town, Moi's Bridge, Chepkoilel and Langas areas.
We have also visited various places where you can file your return, where you can get support. You can visit any of our tax service offices across the country. We also have our service desks in the Huduma centers. We also have this month and next month we are having the mobile clinics in various towns, in various places. So you could take advantage of all these setups and be able to be supported to file your returns.
In a world where news is ever-changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs, breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first. You have to do the impossible to make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
Leo tumetembea maeneo ya Mwihoko. By the way, do you know where Mwihoko is?
Tulipatana mahali, yeye alikuwa anafanya kazi ya kuuza maguo, mimi nilikuwa nafanya kazi ya kuuza hoteli.
Nani hungorota usiku akilala?
Ni baba. na mwamusaka.
Aya, tunamwambianga ni moro tire nani. Aya, mam, mbona ulimpatia maziwa na alitisha chai?
Nimpatie maziwa nimkaribishe.
Kwa hivyo kuna venye pia unisikia. Unasikia kitu kwa monyigi hapa.
Kwa miaka mingi tumeishi pamoja, tukipendana hata leo, na kuahidi tutaendelea pendana milele.
Welcome back to Easy Friday. Now, in a significant step towards gender equity and inclusive leadership in academia, the Department of Economics and Development Studies at the University of Nairobi has launched a strategic initiative aimed at amplifying the participation of women in economics, particularly in leadership and management roles within institutions across the country. Now, according to Professor Wanjiru Kibra, the Director, African Women's Studies Center, the collaborative efforts bring together scholars, policymakers, and advocates to address long-standing barriers faced by women in economic academia. Professor Kibra added that systemic barriers continue holding women, especially young economists, back despite their qualifications and ambitions.
We are envisaging a situation where we are going to have a kind of an institutional change so that our policies are not only done in such a way that women are involved, but also funds are allocated for implementation of those policies. And apart from that, we are also envisaging coming up with a situation where there is going to be a gender directorate that is going to do the following up of implementation of these policies.
We focus on this one, and I'm sure when we deal with this department and we are able to promote women's leadership, as in both academia but also in management, it will make a lot of difference. And that difference will also be felt in the economy, in our Kenyan economy.
My hope is that as this project continues, that it will span far beyond the specific faculty of economics and on to other faculties, including the faculty of law, but also the rest of the university, and that we can then also influence change in other universities.
Sorry for that. Now, Kenya dispatched, but Tanzania rejected with a return to sender stamp. And kaboom, a cross-border war broke out, pitting Kenyan keyboard warriors against their TZ counterparts. How did it go down? Who won? Here's the savage netizens with Tess.
I look to the right, violence. I look to the left, violence. This has been the theme online this week. So let's find out whose peace the savage netizens violated.
A cross-border war, indeed. No blood spilled though, but dare I say it has been messier than messy. Where and how did it all start?
Susanna!
Nicholas!
Susanna!
Nicholas!
I have warned you enough.
I have warned you enough too.
Okay.
Stay away from me.
All
Leave
right.
me alone.
It's all you want war.
Okay. Bring up your war. I will give it back.
Well, the Tanzanians decided they have had enough of activism brewed in Kenya and served elsewhere.
Why between my interview you're passing around? I hate you!
And in a dramatic turn of events, Suluhu decided she was not offering any solution. Neither was she going to drink from the same chalice as her Kenyan counterpart.
Wa wanaharakati ndani ya region yetu hii kuanza kuvamia na kuingilia mambo yetu huku. Sasa kama kwao wameshadhibitiwa, wasije kutuharibia huku.
Allah! Allah! Allah!
She did what Kenyans referred to as unthinkable by pressing the deportation button.
Hatutatoa nafasi kwa kiumbe yoyote kuja kutuvurugia hapa.
Musitishwe! Musitishwe!
With that, the war became official, attracting even on goals.
Munaona wamepeleka tabia mbaya Tanzania. Sisi tunataka kuheshimu majirani nchi zetu za nje.
While Tanzanians fired live bullets, the never afraid Kenyans online decided to join in, and surely they turned up the violence a notch higher.
Okopa wa Kenya bwana, okopa wa Kenya. Sasa sahi akaunti ya polisi ya Tanzania imehakiwa na wa Kenya. Sasa sahi sisi ndio polisi wa Tanzania.
Another opportunity for Kenyans to stand together for a fight back.
Unatuambia ati tunakuja kuvuruga kwenye kwa kina nani? Kwanza na aliwaambia uko ni kwenyu.
Nimeona Mtanzania akisema Mtanzania hauna hata Kizungu.
A series of pictures starting straight from Kenyan officials versus Tanzanian officials, Kenyan couples versus Tanzanian couples, to Kenyan activists versus Tanzanian activists flooded the social media realm.
Dola ya Tanzania na ya Kenya siwagalie. Obea kwanza ya kwenyu ifike. Obea kwanza mpate maflyover kama hii tuko nayo. Na hii airport kama hiyo.
What a brutal war. Another reminder never to cross the Kenyan savage netizens line, unless of course you love violence.
Unless, and the word unless should be underlined with capital letter. Unless they...
Well, while we wait for the Tanzanian netizens to clap back, that is if they will ever make it to the bank to deposit a wheelbarrow full of cash equivalent to 1,000 Kenyan shillings to pay for Twitter Blue. How about we enjoy this banger?
She getting excited, everybody excited, everybody in the club wants her in private. And the vibe in the bar, 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 in the bar.
Well, that's it for us. Catch you next week on Savage Netizens. For Easy Friday, I am Teresa Mutai.
In the bar, in the bar, in the bar, in the bar, in the bar.
Thank you, Tess, for always ensuring our Friday is wrapped up well. Now it's now time for us to switch gears to business. Now the government is ramping up efforts to deal with cartels who act as middlemen, exploiting coffee farmers, reducing earnings and quality. Cabinet Secretary for Cooperatives, Wycliffe Oparanya, says reforming the sector will help farmers access market directly or through transparent cooperatives, earning more from their produce. Further, Oparanya says if approved, the current cooperative bill that is before Parliament will ensure coffee exports fetch better prices, raising the reputation and market value of Kenyan coffee globally.
Tuko pia na sheria ya kahawa specific, vile tuko na Sugar Act, tuko na Coffee Bill pia inaangalia mahali wale watu mnasema wale wakora ambao walikuwa wanatembea wananunua kahawa kwa bei ya chini, alafu wanaenda wanauza kule Nairobi kwa bei ya juu. Hawa wakora wametolewa kulingana na ile sheria ambayo iko katika Senate.
Cooperatives ambazo zina nguvu zinaweza kukopesha wakulima inputs wakati wa kupanda, na inaweza kununua hizo vitu na kuhakikisha wakulima wako na bei ya sawasawa, wapate mafaida kwa mapato yao ya mashamba.
The construction of the Isiolo-Wajir Mandera Highway is expected to spur e-commerce in a region that suffers from a gaping digital gap. The construction of the 748-kilometer highway includes the laying of a fiber optic cable in a bid to drive internet connectivity in the expansive region. Regina Manyara has more details.
This is Kulamawe. The name has a dark past linked to a negligent leader who told the residents to eat stones. However, the ongoing roadworks on the Isiolo-Wajir Mandera Highway, which is part of Kenya's North Africa Gateway Road project and includes tarmacking, 748 kilometers of road, as well as laying fiber optic cables along the route, is bound to transform the sleepy town.
Kabla hii sasa unajua tunakaa kabila moja peke yake hapa. Hakuna njia ni moja, gari ni moja. Gari kienda leo inakuja kesho.
Improved road connectivity is expected to reduce transportation costs and time, facilitating cross-border trade in goods such as livestock, agricultural products and manufactured items.
Nikitoka za hapo kula mawe, by saa 11 na dakika 20 niko Isiolo. Na nikifika Isiolo bila kufanya gari service na tembea kitu kama wiki 2. Bila kufanya gari service natembea kitu kama wiki 2 ama wiki 3 service ya mguu. Lakini zamani tukiwa tunatembea kwa corrugation, yani nikitoka asubuhi hapo lazima niingie garage.
Tunasafiri kiholela kwa sababu unajua njia bado haijamalizwa.
The residents are hopeful that the road will bring them a means to eke living, as a majority are unemployed.
Wakaji wa Kulamawe naye pia wapate uajira kwa wingi, kwa sababu kwa saa hii yenyewe uajira tu yuko kupata vizuri. Watu pia wenye wanaajiriwa ni wachache sana huku kwetu.
Digital infrastructure opens up the possibility of virtual education and telemedicine, addressing gaps in the otherwise forgotten town of Kulamawe.
And as government desires to digitize services, we need to ensure that our citizens access these services. And the only way is by providing them the connectivity.
Once the World Bank funded project is complete, current construction camps are to be converted to amenities such as health facilities and schools.
A couple of years ago, before these roads came about, the North always used to feel like they are not part of Kenya. Sometimes someone could tell you that we are here, but when you go back to down Kenya, that used to be the impression about the North. But when we talk about international trunk roads, we must think about the neighboring countries. We must think about connecting not only Kenya but also our neighbors, that is Somalia, Ethiopia on the northern side, and also Uganda on the western side.
The linkage of Kulamawe and Mogadishu combines physical infrastructure with digital expansion, fostering economic growth, regional integration, and social development that gives hope to a people otherwise forgotten.
Many youths are in their homes, lying and sleeping in their beds. They don't have work. They don't have what to do.
It's not just about eating, it's about development. And that is a promise that the 748-kilometer road infrastructure promises that links Kenya to Ethiopia and Somalia. I'm Regina Manyera reporting for KBC Channel 1 from Kulamawe in Isiolo County.
Thank you very much, Regina Manyara, for that detailed report. Moving on, the 2 billion shillings Green Park underpass at the intersection of Uhuru Highway and Haile Selassie Avenue will be opened to the public in 2 months' time. Deputy Chief of Staff for Performance and Delivery Management, Eliud Owalo, says the modern underpass, which has been under construction for 2 years, is expected to ease traffic at the busy intersection.
The intersection of Uhuru Highway and Haile Selassie Avenue has always been a major thorn in Nairobi's traffic management. The intersection passes more than 5,000 vehicles every hour, creating a major gridlock that affects operations within the central business district. The situation has been worsened by the construction of the Green Park terminus. To ease the situation, the government, through the Kenya National Highways Authority, started the construction of a labyrinth of tunnels to be used by inbound and outbound pedestrians. The Green Park underpass will feature modern corridors, retail outlets, restrooms, and a security surveillance system mirroring. The project's concept draws inspiration from some of the world-class urban designs like the Beijing and London metropolises. It encompasses efficiency, safety, and integration into the city's transit systems. This system will ease pedestrian movement and facilitate smooth traffic flow into the central business district. By diverting foot traffic below ground, the facility is expected to significantly reduce pedestrian vehicle conflict, enhance commuter safety, and improve vehicular traffic flow around the critical Haile Selassie Uhuru Highway intersection in a strategic shift from the reactive traffic management to proactive design-led solutions aligned with the best global practices.
Now, counties are likely to share out 405.1 billion shillings over the next 1 year if the proposed 2025-2026 budget is adopted in its current form. This amount will be complemented by an additional 69.8 billion shillings in the conditional allocations, bringing total transfers to 74.9 billion shillings. On the 2025-2026 budget countdown, Regina focuses on the budgetary allocations to counties.
In the current fiscal year, counties received an equitable share of 400.1 billion shillings, along with 8.76 billion shillings in conditional allocations from the national government and 35.6 billion shillings from development partners. The 1.25% increase in equitable share is meant to provide counties with much-needed core funding to develop services, including healthcare, education and road maintenance. Budgetary allocations for the counties in the 2025-2026 budget reflects a minimal increase in the equitable share, but a significant rise on conditional allocations, indicating a shift towards more targeted funding. However, the Council of Governors has termed the proposed 405.1 billion shillings equitable share to devolved units as insufficient. Under the proposed equitable share, Nairobi County gets the highest allocation, amounting to 21.2 billion shillings, while Lamu gets the least amount at 3.41 billion shillings. Regina Manyara reporting for KBC Channel 1.
Now, House Republicans have passed a sweeping multi-trillion-dollar tax breaks package, a narrow victory for President Donald Trump and House Speaker Mike Johnson after weeks of negotiations with conservative holdouts. Trump's big, beautiful bill passed with a vote of 215 votes to 214, with 2 Republicans joining Democrats to oppose it and 1 voting present. More details next in our international business news.
The U.S. president's allies on Capitol Hill have celebrated its passage as a victory, with Johnson saying it gets Americans back to winning again. It now heads to the Senate, which will have the chance to approve or change provisions of the bill. Along a policy priority of Trump, the legislation extends the soon-to-expire tax cuts passed during his first administration in 2017, as well as provides an influx of money for defense spending and to fund the president's mass deportations. It also temporarily eliminates taxes on overtime work and tips, both key promises Trump made during his successful 2024 presidential campaign. Additionally, the bill makes significant spending cuts, including to the Medicaid healthcare program for lower-income Americans, as well as SNAP, a food assistance program used by more than 42 million Americans. Meanwhile, China is boosting financial support for its small and micro enterprises. New guidelines aim to increase financing supply, lower costs, and enhance the precision of aid. This includes expanding various loan types, directing more resources to key sectors like foreign trade and technology, and guiding banks to reduce lending rates and associated fees. Finally, China and over 100 World Trade Organization members have criticized the U.S. unilateral tariffs, urging support for fair, transparent global trade rules. China called for WTO reforms to promote open, cooperative trade and resist protectionism and economic fragmentation. The U.S. so-called reciprocal tariffs imposed on all its trading partners have severely undermined the multilateral trading system, impacted the global economy, and harmed the interests of developing countries. The European Union said that the U.S. shouldn't attempt to address its domestic macroeconomic imbalances through tariffs. All WTO members have been affected by the U.S. unilateral tariff measures.
Now, before we take a look at what's making headlines in the world of sports, let's now take a look at what's happening in the counties right here in Kenya. Now, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has announced that the government will employ an additional 26,000 teachers by the end of September this year. Details of this in our county news wrap.
Speaking in Daragwa town, Nyandarua County, after inspecting a 50 million shillings market, the Deputy President said the move aims to reaching a target of 100,000 teachers in 2 years, as promised by the Kenya Kwanza administration.
Soko tumeagana na contractor tuisukume mbio haraka haraka, ijae haraka imalizike ili itumike na wakina mama wa hapa, vijana wa hapa, wazee wa hapa kufanya biashara.
Elsewhere in Kitui County, 26 victims of human-wildlife conflict have received over 52 million shillings as compensation. The acting secretary in the Ministry of Wildlife, Shadrack Kangene, said all pending claims are expected to be cleared by 2027.
We are going to push so that we have all the pending bills for compensation paid, and we promise by 2027 that all those bills will be paid.
And over 10,000 residents of Masimba in Kajiado County can now sleep at ease after a water project that is set to reduce their vicious conflict with the wildlife was completed. The Masimba Esukuta Integrated Water Project, which is along the busy Nairobi-Mombasa Highway and also on the wildlife corridor of Chulu Game Reserve, will address the vicious competition for water in the fast-growing town.
Sai maji anafika town yote. Nafika town kwa ground 6. Kwa sanduku 6 kushotia maji. Iko tangi mbili juu ya milima. Ile imejengwa na flow.
Niko na furaha kusema kwamba hiyo mradi itatatua hiyo human wildlife conflict, na napongeza community ya Masimba kwa sababu wamechukua hiyo mradi kwamba ni mradi yao na tayari wameweka komiti yao ya kuitunza hii.
In Migori County, health officials and civil society organizations have reported increased public awareness, greater uptake of family planning services, and more open discussions about reproductive health within families. According to Benta Athiambo Mboyo, the director of Migori Community Traditional Negative Practice Mitigation Organization, the initiatives are empowering both men and women to make informed health decisions.
Mambo ya kupigana wanawake mume na mke imerudi nyuma, si kama ilivyokuwa mbeleni, kwa sababu siku hizi nakuta mama wanaongea na mzee, wanakubaliana kile wanachotaka kufanya ndani ya nyumba na ndani ya familia, wanakifanya kinakuwa.
Meanwhile, the National Biosafety Authority is organizing the 13th Annual Biosafety Conference to be held in the next 2.5 weeks under the theme 13 years later, building trust and ensuring the safety of genetically modified organisms. Speaking ahead of the conference, Acting Director of Biosafety Research and Compliance, Josphat Mushiri, said that the authority has been reaching the public to assure them that technologies they regulate, such as GMOs and also genomes, are safely deployed.
We can assure the public that that maize is safe, and it has expressed very strong performance in terms of the resisting pests, the maize stem borers and the fall armyworm. So we want to assure the public once this BT maize comes to their shops or to their agrovets or agro dealer shops, that this maize is safe.
And finally, farmers in Meru County have voiced a growing concern over the use of agricultural chemicals, citing a lack of proper training as a serious health risk. The issue was at the center of discussions during the recent Lewa Farmers Field Day held in Bori constituency.
Tungetaka kukumbusha wakulima wote ni ya kwamba tufuate vile ambavyo tumepewa mafundisho kutumia dawa ambazo ni mzuri, na zaidi tufanye ukulima ambayo tunasema ni organic, na zaidi kwa sababu tunangojea mvua ile ambayo tunasema ni rain fed agriculture. Mvua ikikuja tulime vizuri na tutege maji.
Wiki hii katika mkulima tunamfuga mbuzi wa maziwa. Kitu mmoja ile inafanya tuimize watu waweze kutumia maziwa ya mbuzi ni kwa sababu utasikia mara kwa mara watu wakisema maziwa ya mbuzi ni dawa. Na ikiwa dawa, watu wengi sasa wanataka kuitumia, lakini wengi hata hawajui hiyo dawa inapatikana aje kwa ile maziwa ya mbuzi.
Na pia tunatua pale Murang'a kwenye upanzi wa parachichi na ndizi.
Tukutane Jumamosi saa 10:30
tukujuze zaidi
hapa KBC.
Yoni. Bali na ufukara wetu kuongezea upofu, kama siku ujinga wangu, kama siku abudu pombe.
Njonge na babu.
Kubali wake wangu, Singita!
How can you call yourself father, yet you have reported it in the radio?
Yani Singita anampenda Pashi kwa dhati. Wamaanisha pendo la
And yes, indeed, it is time for me to walk you through the major sporting headlines today. I'm Bernard Okumu. Sports Cabinet Secretary Salim Vuria has reiterated the government's commitment to implement the recommendations arising from the assessment of the Visiting Confederation of Africa Football CAF inspectors ahead of the 2025 African Nations Championship CHAN. The CAF officials are in the country for a 3-day inspection tour to assess the country's readiness to co-host the African Nations Championship in August 2025. Alongside Uganda and Tanzania, the Cabinet Secretary made the remarks during a meeting with Pierre-Alain Mongengi, CAF third Vice President and head of CHAN Organizing Committee. Mvuria noted that the 3 co-hosting countries are in advanced discussions on the facilitation of free movement for funds, players and CAF officials across their borders to ensure seamless coordination during the tournament. Mongengi commended the progress and commitment demonstrated by Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania, while urging stakeholders to fast-track the remaining works at the designated hosting facilities to ensure full readiness ahead of the continental tournament.
Sunlight provides endless clean energy. Green drives sustainable development of humanity.
And to volleyball now, where it was a day of upsets as the Kenya Volleyball Federation semi-final served off today at the Makande Hall in Mombasa. Kenya Pipeline put defending champions KCB to notice in the first semi-final with a commanding 3-1 victory. The Bankers fared fast to take the opening set 25-14 and looked every bit at the title contenders. But Pipeline had other plans. Led by tactical brilliance and unmatched energy, they turned the tide to take the next 3 sets at 25-16, 25-18 and a nail-biting 25-23 to secure their spot in the finals and send a clear message to their rivals. In the second semi-final, DCI could not be denied the glory as they edged out Prisons Kenya in a 5-set thriller. The match swung back and forth with set scores of 25-21, 12-25, 26-24 and 25-25 and finally 15-12 in favor of DCI in the best of 3 series. Meanwhile, GSU beat Equity 3-1 in the first game of the men's semi-final series as KPA also recorded the same margin against Prisons Kenya. And to the clay court now. It was a day of high drama as Rising Stars took to the court at the Extreme ITF World Tour Junior Championship, which entered the semi-final stage today. India's Hia Kugasia produced a stunning comeback to secure her place in the finals. She turned the tables in style after trailing in the first minutes to win the first set 7-5 against Saina Jayash. With grit and determination, Kugasia powered through the next set to win 6-4, earning a hard-fought victory and a spot in the girls' singles final. She now faces Europe's Liv Zing, or rather England's Liv Zing, who made quick work of India's Janvi Asawa, breezing through the other semi-final 6-3, 6-love. In the boys' doubles, India's Maria Somukh and Oboveja Panchul showcased their chemistry on court, overcoming Patel Hush and Max Hernado to book a place in the finals. The ITF J30 tournament, which is part of the global junior tennis development circuit, wraps up tomorrow, having attracted over 60 young talents from around the globe.
The first set was going on, it was like a marathon. I was 4-5 down and 40 love down. And then I took the game and it's 5-all. And it was like I thought I might lose the game and I might lose the set. But somehow I managed to get 4 points and won the 4-5 game.
It was a wonderful match. Our opponents were great, and the most crucial point was that we were able to handle the pressure on the critical moments, and we were able to win the points, which are very important.
The points were really close, and like in doubles, in duos you have only a single point, so it's very important to play your best tennis on that point, and we played the best tennis. In the last game we were like very close. It was a pressure, you know, to close the game, and we did it.
Of course, the J30 tournament comes to a culmination this weekend. Elsewhere, Kenya's Simba's coach Jerome Powaters has stated that his charges are ready to roll in tomorrow's international build-up match against the United Arab Emirates at the RFA grounds. Speaking after the training, Jerome noted that the game is important to them as both teams are using it to prepare for various tournaments. Simbas of Kenya will be heading to South Africa next week for a high-performance tour to prepare for the Rugby Africa, which also doubles up as the 2027 Rugby Africa Cup qualifier, while the UAE is preparing for the Asian Cup later this year. Meanwhile, the Prescott Cup is also underway, with Mangu High School curtain raising the build-up match against Linala School.
In Kenya, and for me, there's no pressure. It's about Kenya Rugby Union. It's not about the Sevens. It's not about the Simbas. It's about the Chipper. It's about the Women's. I'm helping everywhere where I can help. So it's about Kenya Rugby, and it's about the players in Kenya. If we can make them better, if there's a guy stands out, whether it's the Sevens, whether it's with Simbas, whether it's at his club, you definitely get a call up, because for us, it's Simbas, it's going about the country, it's not about ourselves.
And the 2024-2025 Football Kenya Federation Women's Premier League culminates this weekend, with defending champions Kenya Police on the cusp of retaining their title if they win against Trinity Starlets in one of the final league fixtures scheduled on Sunday. Kenya Police sits at the top of the standings with 43 points, with 2 points ahead of second place Ulinzi Starlets. A slip against Trinity will hand Ulinzi the title, who must also defeat Kisumu All Starlets at Ulinzi Complex. Former champions Vihiga Queens will be gunning to finish the season among the top three, with the trip to Kisumu against Kibbett Queens. Kibra Soccer women will seek to consolidate their third place against the already relegated Mombasa Olympic. Wadadia and Bunyore Starlets have also been asked and will be participating in the league's second tier next season.
July, and finally finishing the last module, I was supposed to become an alum of the Harvard Business School.
And Sports Journalists Association of Kenya has moved in to support former Harambee Stars head coach Tom Olaba through the association's CSR arm. SJAC visited the former head coach as a way of giving back to the society. SJAC President James Windi noted that the essence of SJAC CSR initiative lies in the idea that the association should not only focus on sports coverage but reach out as well. During Olaba's visit, SJAC donated foodstuffs and essential household products worth 50,000 shillings to aid the coach, who is currently undergoing treatment following an injury on his spinal cord. Olaba, who served as Harambee Stars coach in 2006 for 1 year before former Tusker coach Jacob Ghost Mulee took over, admitted he was facing financial constraints to attend physiotherapy lessons as recommended by his doctors. Olaba had a stint in Tanzania, where he led Ruvu Shooting Stars to be promoted to the Premier League and also coached FKF Premier League side FC Leopards twice.
Sana na ninawashukuru sana deep in my heart, na ninawashukuru sana tena sana, maana wale ambao wana uwezo wa kuja kunitembelea, si lazima uje nitembelee hata ukiwa na kitu chochote, njoo nisalimie, manake nyote nyinyi mnanifahamu mimi. Wakati nilipokuwa mzima nilikuwa ni mtu ni mcheshi na napenda watu.
Kwa coach mdogo kwake tukiwa Harambee Stars 2006. Tom alikuwa mentor, sababu akicheza mimi nilikuwa mdogo. Akianza kucheza yeye pia akaanza kucheza akiwa bata, mimi kwa wakati. Mtu tumeshirikiana kwa mambo mengi na umoja sana. So mtu alikuwa anaona una mwado na unataka kucheza kama Tom, unamuona kwa hali hii, imeniguza kidogo. Mimi niko Tanzania saizi, pia mimi nilipata ajali kidogo, lakini sasa natembea kwa vizuri kidogo. Nimerudi, lakini sasa nimefaa vizuri sana.
Saidia zaidi mitaani hapo Nairobi, kila wakati akiitwa mahali yeye huja na kuhamasisha vijana upande wa mpira. Lakini tunamshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwa hali ambayo amefikia. Tom bado najua anakumbuka kila mtu. Anakumbuka watu wote wa mpira, hata mambo za coaching bado anayo. Lakini tunazidi kumwombea Mwenyezi Mungu ampe nguvu na shifa aweze atoke kwa hiyo janga.
To wish him well and also put out his plea because he needs a lot of medicine daily. He needs massages. At the moment he's doing 1 massage in a week, which is not enough. And we urge more corporate companies to join us in this initiative as we continue looking at the welfare of former footballers, former athletes, and even journalists.
And great to see Nuruddin Taib, one of the great men in Nairobi who've molded many talents through his annual Kiko Cup that runs at Woodley. But of course, Woodley Stadium is no longer in good shape and undergoing renovations. On to the news making headlines across the borders now, where Napoli aims to secure their 4th Italian Serie A, the Scudetto, when they face Cagliari tonight at the Diego Armando Maradona Stadium. In a decisive league finale, they lead Inter Milan by a single point, and a victory will guarantee Napoli the Scudetto. Now, Napoli's lineup remains formidable despite the absence of their manager Antonio Conte, who is serving a touchdown ban after a heated altercation last weekend. Cagliari, on the other hand, come into the match safe from relegation with no major injury concerns reported. Defending champions Inter Milan face Como tonight, looking forward to a win as the Serie A heads into the penultimate stage of the season. The Nerazzurri hope Napoli draw points against Cagliari tonight to successfully defend the Italian Serie A title at Giuseppe Singaglia Stadium.
Still going, Lobotka. Here's Billing! And there he is again! The unlikely hero, Philip Billing!
And of course, the 2 matches currently underway and half an hour played, and as it looks, Inter Milan are leading Como by 1-0, while Napoli against Cagliari, it's also still a deadlock, 0-0. Remember that Napoli needs to win this to assure themselves of the 2nd Scudetto or Italian Serie A title in 3 seasons. That's it from the sports desk. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Bernardo Kumu. Have a great weekend ahead.
Thank you very much, Bernard Okumu, for keeping us up to speed with the latest in the world of sports. And that brings us to the end of tonight's edition of Easy Friday. Thank you so much for keeping us company. Remember, the conversation doesn't stop here. Stay engaged with us across all our social media platforms. We definitely love hearing from you. A big thank you to our sign language interpreter this evening, Byron Abuli, for ensuring inclusivity in every broadcast. Up next, get ready to turn up the volume as DJ Cool Jax takes over with the Disco Funk Show. Definitely the perfect way to kick off your weekend. I'm Caren Kibbett. From all of us here right at KBC Channel 1 TV, we wish you a safe and relaxing weekend. Good night.
Mabinti Mabinti
Bwana, naona leo tuko na wakeni kutoka KBC Channel 1.
Elimu ndo maisha, vijana wote someni.
Je, ni kweli kuwa uhuru mwingi siku zote kwa vijana unajenga ama unabomoa?
Tunapowapea vijana wetu uhuru mingi, wengi wao wanaenda huko nje na kukutana na watu ambao wanawafunza vitu ambavyo havitakikani.
Ningependa waachiliwe ili wajue mengi. Asante.
Nahodha ameendesha merikebu vizuri. Kanusha.
Nahodha hajaendesha merikebu vizuri.
Williamson Mines, nchi gani katika bara la Afrika?
Tanzania.